They say spies can be anyone. A neighbor who smiles too easily, a stranger on the train pretending to read, even the man selling fruit on the corner whose life looks ordinary until you look closer. But what if I told you that some of the most unlikely spies of the Cold War didn't walk on two legs at all? What if I told you they flew, swam, and padded quietly through the shadows, never suspecting that their lives had been turned into tools of human ambition? This is the story of how the CIA tried to turn animals into spies. A story so strange it feels like fiction, until you see the declassified files for yourself. It begins in the 1960s. The United States was locked in a dangerous chess match with the Soviet Union. Every move mattered. Every secret was a weapon. And the CIA, desperate for an edge, began looking beyond human operatives. The question they asked was simple and chilling. If animals could be trained, guided, or even altered, could they slip past enemy defenses in ways no human spy ever could? Pigeons were their first answer. For centuries, pigeons had carried messages in war. They were reliable, fast, and easily overlooked. But the CIA imagined something far more ambitious. They strapped tiny, feather-light cameras to pigeons' chests, releasing them over Soviet military sites. Think about it. A bird no one notices, gliding silently over restricted airspace, capturing photographs that no satellite of the time could reach. The pigeons returned, images in tow, unaware of the role they'd played in international espionage. It worked, at least sometimes, but pigeons were only the beginning. Then came one of the strangest projects in CIA history, Acoustic Kitty. The mission? To turn a house cat into a living surveillance device. Surgeons implanted a tiny microphone inside the cat's ear canal, ran wires along its spine, and placed a radio transmitter near its skull. To anyone else, it was just a cat wandering the street. To the CIA, it was a potential spy who could stroll past park benches and embassy walls, carrying secrets in its fur. But reality doesn't bend easily to human imagination. On its very first mission, Acoustic Kitty was released near a Soviet compound in Washington. The cat padded forward, took a few steps, and then, as fate would have it, wandered into the street. A taxi struck it. Years of research and millions of dollars ended instantly in the most mundane way possible. The project was quietly shelved. The files remained classified for decades, hidden from a public that might have laughed or recoiled. Yet, the CIA didn't stop with cats. Their eyes turned to the ocean. Dolphins, intelligent and trainable, became assets in a new theater of war, the sea. The Navy developed programs where dolphins could detect underwater mines, carry equipment to divers, or even attach tracking devices to enemy submarines. Their natural sonar, far beyond human capability, made them ideal for detecting threats beneath the waves. Officially, the program was for defense. Unofficially, rumors swirled of more lethal possibilities, of dolphins trained to deliver explosives or disable divers in the depths. And dolphins weren't alone. Whales, seals, even fish were tested as living scouts of the ocean. Some accounts suggest the Soviets ran similar programs, experimenting with belugas and sea lions. The Cold War was not just a battle of ideologies. It was a battle fought through the bodies of animals who never volunteered. There were birds beyond pigeons, too. Ravens, for example, were trained to fly to specific windowsills and drop listening devices. Their intelligence made them ideal, their black feathers perfect camouflage against the urban night. Dogs were trained for reconnaissance missions, sometimes carrying equipment or sensors across borders. And in other files, stranger experiments surface. Insects fitted with microtransmitters, or fish embedded with sensors to drift along currents. Each project reads like science fiction, but they were real. And they reveal something haunting about human ingenuity, that when fear runs deep enough, the line between imagination and ethics can blur into nothing. Looking back now, these experiments seem almost absurd. Cats with microphones, pigeons with cameras, dolphins in military harnesses. It feels like the plot of a spy thriller or the script of a dark comedy. But beneath the absurdity is a deeper truth. Because in each case, animals weren't treated as living beings. They were treated as instruments, tools, replaceable parts of a global game of power. And that mindset didn't end with the Cold War. Today, militaries around the world still use animals in ways that raise questions. Dogs sniff out explosives in war zones. Dolphins patrol harbors. Reports have surfaced of whales equipped with strange harnesses near Russian waters. And while technology has advanced, drones now mimic birds, submarines mimic fish. The principle remains unchanged. The natural world, pressed into service for human conflict. When you think about it, there's something almost poetic and tragic in this. Animals have lived beside us for thousands of years. We've worshipped them, domesticated them, relied on them for food, for labor, for companionship. And in the Cold War, we asked them to carry our fears, to fight battles they never chose. The files that tell these stories are filled with ambition, desperation, and at times, failure. But they also leave us with uncomfortable questions. If the CIA was willing to wire a cat or train a dolphin to deliver a bomb, what else might governments be willing to do when secrecy is absolute and the stakes are high? Where is the line between innovation and cruelty, between security and madness? The story of animals in espionage isn't just about pigeons, cats, or dolphins. It's about us, about the lengths we'll go when fear takes hold, about how easily we can bend life itself into tools, convincing ourselves that the ends justify the means. And it's about the world we've built, a world where power can turn even the simplest, most innocent creature into an instrument of war. So the next time you see a bird overhead, a cat wandering the street, or a dolphin leaping through the ocean waves, remember, once upon a time, intelligence agencies didn't just see them as animals. They saw them as spies, and that truth, stranger than fiction, still lingers in the shadows.